All right, good morning, everybody. I think we're on, ready to go. Today is Friday, and welcome to our Power Up today. It is Friday, February the 3rd. We're approaching the weekend here. We got just kind of a busy weekend here. I want to encourage you. We've got our Valentine's banquet tonight, and we've got a good number of people that'll be here for that. Look forward to just that time fellowshipping together. I would ask if you would to pray for this evening, as it is kind of a busy night for us, and just pray that everything goes well. I'm sure that it will, and look forward to just gathering with God's people and just kind of having a good time together tonight. And so I want to thank everybody who has helped out with in preparation for this, and thank everybody for just all the hard work getting ready for our Valentine's banquet. And then also don't forget our services this weekend. Look forward to them as well. Want to encourage you as we get started. We're going to be in Job chapter number 25. Job chapter 25. And if you haven't done so already, I would encourage you to please share our Power Up so that others could join us here this morning. And so be sure and hit that share button. We're in Job chapter 25, and we're going to cover the entirety of this chapter. It's a short chapter, just six verses long. And so thank you so much for being on. Let's look, Job 25, let's look and see what we've got today as we look into the scriptures. The Bible says, then answered Bildad the Shuhite and said, so remember, we've got Bildad speaking, one of Job's friends, and this really the shortest conversation I believe we have here, or that we've seen here in Job from one of Job's friends. And so this short conversation here, this short rebuttal speech by Bildad, and maybe the reason for this is they've really kind of beat their thinking to death here. They beat this drum of Job's wicked. He's being judged for his wickedness. They've really kind of beat that to death here, and Job has just kind of thwarted that time and time again as they've brought that to his attention. And so we really have this very short confrontation here by Bildad. And so then answered Bildad the Shuhite said, dominion and fear are with him. He maketh peace in his high places, this speaking of God. Is there any number of his armies, speaking to the greatness of those that serve him and that fight for him, his armies, and upon whom doth not his light arise? And we note that God, his reach is everywhere. You can't hide from the Lord. You remember how it was said, maybe you remember in history how the sun never sets on the British Empire. You probably might remember that from your history or your social studies. And in a greater way, we think of God in that way. Nobody can hide from God. Nobody can run from God. God, upon whom doth not his light arise. God is everywhere present, okay? He's omnipresent. And who are we to think that we can hide from God? Where we think we're going, he's already been. And that speaks to our geographical location, also speaks to our life in this great timeline of the earth's life here. So we note that. Then verse number 4, how then can man be justified with God? Or how can he be clean that is born of a woman? And speaking of that, of the justification of mankind, and then also noting even that sin nature that we have as really being mankind and being human. We've got this sin nature, and we've got to. It's important for us to not forget where we come from, okay? But as we think of what is going on here, even in Job's life, what his friends are doing, what they're saying is, hey, Job, nobody's perfect. And Job never said he was perfect. Job never said he was without sin. He was saying that the judgment that he is experiencing and incurring is not a result of his sin. Job, his goal was to keep that short account with God. If there was sin in his life, he confessed it, forsook it, and learned and grew from it. And so he wasn't saying he's never said he was perfect, okay? And that's what the accusation has been made is, Job, you think you're perfect, well, you're not, okay? And so we've got that constant thought being brought up by his friends. Verse number 5 says, behold, even to the moon, and it shineth not, yea, the stars are not pure in his sight. Much, and so we see the greatness of God's creation, obviously being the moon, the stars are not pure in his sight. And we note that even you think about just what has been impacted by sin. God put a curse on his creation because of sin, and everything has been impacted from it. It says, behold, even to the moon, okay, speaking of really God's light shining over everything, and it shineth not. We know that the moon doesn't shine, but rather reflects the sun. As we would study science, and we would note that, and it's important for us to know that God has orchestrated everything and that God is in control of everything. We note that even back in chapter number, trying to remember which one it was, chapter 24, 23 as well. Just speaking of the greatness of God, and we know that God interceding and knowing man's heart and man's ways, and we know that God has created everything, and by him all things consist. We read that in the scriptures as well, and we're going to note that even as we get further here into the book of Job, we'll note some of those things. But that's important for us to remember really how little we are in the vastness of God's creation, but it should also encourage us, even though how small we are in the vastness of God's creation, how important we are to the Lord, as he desires that personal relationship with us. And then verse number 6, how much less man that is a worm, okay? Hey, we're nothing, we're a nobody, and it says that we are a worm, and the Son of Man, which is a worm. And really, how much do we matter in God's eyes? And how can we hope to escape God's judgment? And we know that our God is a just God. Who do we think that we are, that we can stand up against God's judgment? And the reality is, it's true who we are. We are sinful creatures, and then our God is a just God, and he will judge sin. And Job has not said that wouldn't happen. Job is just saying that his sufferings are not the reason for his affliction. And Job, knowing his heart, knowing his relationship with the Lord, and I don't think he's been prideful in this fact. I just believe that Job is somebody that walked with God and kept short accounts with God, and desired to have that close, intimate relationship with him. And so he could say, man, I've searched my heart. I know my heart. I know my relationship with God. And really he could say to his friends there, who are you to judge me? You don't know my heart. And as we consider that, I want you to just be mindful of this kind of moving forward as we consider that, maybe having that type of relationship with God. And I hope that you desire to have that relationship with God, that you keep those short accounts with him. But I want you to think about this, okay? Let's strive for that type of relationship. And then at the same time, and I'm not saying Job was doing this, but at the same time, let's not get too caught up in ourselves and say, man, look at me, I look pretty good. Let's let that not be said of us, or let's not have that attitude, but rather let's have that humble spirit that says, okay, God, I'm going to listen to your word. I'm going to follow your Holy Spirit whenever he leads in my life. And I'm going to recognize that I'm not a perfect individual, so where you lead, I will follow. And what you're trying to teach me, I will learn. May that be our attitude as we go throughout this life, recognizing we're not perfect and we don't have all the answers. And God, I need you today. I need you now more today than I ever have. Let's recognize that in our life. Okay, I'm going to leave you those couple of thoughts. Once again, thank you so much for being on with us today. If you have not shared our Power Up yet this morning, hey, I would encourage you to do so. Share that Power Up so that we can get the word out. And we've got, right now, we've got 3 shares this morning. And so thank you, those of you who are able to share. Now, let's greet those who are on live here today. Everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. And then those who have commented live, let's greet you just really quick here today. Cliff and Karen, thank you and good morning. Thank you so much for being on. Lee and Angie, good morning to you. Thank you for being on as well. Charlie and Marcia, good morning. Hope you have a great day. Ingrid, good morning. Have a great day today. Love you. And we'll see you soon, I am sure. Shelly, thanks for being on live. And not quite as cold down there. 50s for the next 10. Yeah, well, we're just hoping to get into double digits again. We're down in single digits, and our high today, I believe, it's supposed to be like 8 degrees, our high for the day. And so a little chilly for us today. Be praying for our Valentine's banquet that'll be warm for that, and man, it's just a little chilly out there. Good morning, Paula. Thank you so much for being on, and look forward to seeing you and Jerry tonight at our Valentine's banquet. Brian and Cindy, have a great day as well, and thank you for being on. Jody, good morning to you, and happy Friday to you all. Have a great weekend, everybody. Lord willing, we'll see many of you this Sunday for church. And obviously some of you will see tonight for our Valentine's banquet. Wherever you're watching this from, please be in church. Don't miss out on what God has for you. And He's got something for you, something specifically for you this Sunday. So be sure to be in church in person, and God will bless you for it. Okay? Awesome. I'll let you go for the day. Have a good one, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday for our next Power Up.